I guess so. The situation continues to escalate over in the Middle East, and obviously, you guys have probably heard the news by now of Benjamin Netanyahu doing this PowerPoint presentation saying that Iran was lying in regards to the nuclear deal. He's suggesting that they're still lying, and that only kind of makes you think, well, do they have nuclear weapons or do they not have nuclear weapons? This treasure trove of documents that the Israeli intelligence force basically stole from Iran details quite a bit of their ambitions in respect to their nuclear goals, and whether they have achieved those goals remains to be seen. In my opinion, I think they have. Obviously, I've mentioned the Uranium One deal that was in 2010. They came up with the Iran nuclear deal in 2015. That's 5 years. If Iran has continued to covertly develop nuclear weapons in violation of the Iran nuclear deal, then that would obviously add on an extra 3 years to 2018. So in total, they would have had 8 years from the Uranium One deal to create a nuclear weapon. Entirely possible, as I said, for a country that has the knowledge and the resources. Definitely possible. So after Benjamin Netanyahu produced this presentation, Donald Trump was quick to respond to say, basically, this is what I've been saying, that the Iran nuclear deal is no good and it's unacceptable. So that just lays the framework for the withdrawal of the United States from the Iran nuclear deal. Because as I've said, Iran is not going to stand for a change to the Iran nuclear deal. And the other suggestion is if they don't change the nuclear deal, then they'll apply more sanctions. Again, not something that Iran's really going to tolerate, and will most likely restart its nuclear path in earnest, out in the open rather than, hidden, as I think it is right now. So after all that, Iran responds to Israel after the strikes that took place, causing the earthquake over there when they struck the ammunitions warehouse, the Iranian ammunitions warehouse, apparently killing around 26 Iranians. That report I mentioned earlier has proven to be true. So a senior Iranian member of parliament vowed on Tuesday that his country will react to Israeli aggression against it in Syria, issuing his warning following a missile strike on the Syrian military bases at the weekend. Really, they were Iranian military bases. So the head of Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Committee made the comments in Damascus after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presented purported evidence of past Iranian nuclear arms work, but later insisted he was not seeking war with the country. We will respond to any aggression on Iran at the right time and place. So, again, it's just another confirmation of the promise that Iran has made following several of these strikes on Iranian targets in Syria, that the response from Iran to Israel will be coming at a certain time, certain place. As I've said, May 14th is Israel's Independence Day. It would be, symbolic for Iran to attack Israel on that day, or even before. So, something to keep watch of. While all this is going on, Russia is moving more warships or more artillery and military equipment into Syria. So Russian warships have been spotted making their way to Syria as the tensions in the Middle East escalate, and they've been spotted carrying military vehicles. The Naval Observer previously spotted a Project 117 Alligator-class landing ship at Bosporus, Turkey on April the 15th. So obviously Russia is ready and willing to support its ally Iran in its fight against Israel and the United States. And with all of that going on, you've got the fact that it's not just Russia and Iran and Iraq and, possibly Turkey and Syria. There's obviously China sitting in the background. This is just more rhetoric, but coming from, the leader of Iran, in a speech on Monday, 2 days ago, just saying that they will hit Israel back. So again, it's just the extra confirmation there that something is coming in respect to Iran and Israel, and it may be coming this month, in the next couple of weeks, on or before Israel's Independence Day. It may happen. Possible indications for that taking place around that time. And while Israel is, going against Syria and Iran and possibly Russia, they're also kind of making deals with Taiwan, or at least growing closer in terms of economy and trade. And that's going to really annoy China, because obviously there's the one China policy, and Taiwan is seen as a rogue state. China still counts Taiwan as part of China. So even back when Donald Trump first, entered into the office and he took a phone call from the Taiwanese president there, it caused, contention between the United States and China, because it was viewed that Taiwan is a rogue state and shouldn't be making any, deals or any, kind of links to people in power, particularly the president of the United States. And it appears that Israel really doesn't care. So you've got Iran as one, and you're attacking in Syria. So obviously you've got Syria against you at the same time. You've got Russia, who are those two countries' allies, and then where China may not be, inclined to get involved in a war in the Middle East, things like this will draw it in. The one China policy is something that they pursue quite aggressively. So, if the opportunity was there for China to step in, not just as an ally to those other countries, but also to kind of reinforce its own interests, then you see kind of what Israel is doing. And obviously the whole war that we're talking about is biblically prophesied, so there's no changing it. But it's curious to see how it's actually coming about. It's not like it's everyone's attacking Israel right now, missiles thrown at Israel and stuff. It's kind of Israel is being portrayed as the aggressor. Whether that's, even if you think that's, they're right because they're going out being an aggressor, but in order to defend themselves, that's a view you can take. But regardless of that, they are the ones who are getting in their planes and flying to other countries and bombing there, thereby increasing the risk to the country. So, it's kind of like false prophecy. But then again, as I said before, everything is part of God's work. So even if someone tries to force prophecy, it would end up being part of God's plan anyway, and that would be how it comes about. So, we don't know what the plan of God is for these leaders that are in power at the moment. They all seem to be playing their roles, but we'll see. In other news, the news about the volcano that I've been watching out for, attention's being drawn more to Kilauea in Hawaii. When I obviously think of this volcano, I keep the iPet Goat video in my mind at the same time, particularly the apple, the volcano, Obama. It all seems to kind of link up here. If it's talking about a real world event, a volcano going off in Hawaii, where Obama's from, around this time frame where certain other things have, come to pass. So it's something to keep watch of. And recently there's been some activity there, not explosive activity, but there has been a collapse, I believe it was, of a crater floor which has caused some seismic swarms. This particular report is talking about a 4.2 earthquake, which was registered near Kilauea, on the Hawaii island. So there is activity going on there. A few more reports about it, just giving a bit more information. So this one is saying the volcano could be set to erupt after hundreds of earthquakes and a collapse of a crater floor. Lava may burst through the ground east of Kilauea, the most active of the 5 volcanoes that form the state's main island, geologists have warned. So the reason I'm basically looking at this is because I'm thinking the reason that the sweat bead is on Obama's head in the iPad Go video is due to the fact that something is happening in Hawaii that is causing him to be worried. And there again, you have the volcano on the Apple, which is, directly next to Obama's foot. So, the two are connected, the volcano and Obama. So I'm just thinking perhaps it's something to do with this volcano, Kilauea. It started off by just filling up the crater where the lava is contained, and then it started to overflow. And now we've got crater floors collapsing, seismic activity, more than 250 earthquakes recorded in 24 hours, movement of lava being detected. Now, obviously, all of that can just mellow out over the next couple of hours, the next couple of days, but it could also be an indication that there is an imminent eruption about to take place, or at least some form of activity on a larger scale is due to take place. So again, just headlines warning of a possible eruption at the volcano. This coming out on the 2nd of May, and obviously I put out the video about Kilauea on I think it was the 30th of April. Just looking out for the next couple of days, possibly up to the 2nd of May, which is today. Over here is 18 minutes past 7 in the evening. It could happen today, could happen in the next couple of days. I really don't know. That was just an interpretation. But the activity has escalated over there, so definitely something I'm going to keep watch of. Even this part where a new crack has been found on the west side of, I can't say this name, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It looks like letters are missing. I know they're not, but it looks like that. The United States Geological Survey reported that starting at about 2 p.m. on Monday, April the 30th, marked increases in seismicity and ground deformation indicated that a change was underway at Kilauea volcano's East Rift Zone. Visibility was nearly obscured due to poor weather conditions, but a brief clearing allowed Hawaiian Volcano Observatory's webcam to capture this image of the crater shortly before the crater floor began collapsing. So you can just see it's like a kind of cloudy, smoky kind of atmosphere there. This is where the crack. See, this is where the crack has appeared. So you can see where the steam is coming out. Steam, smoke, whatever you want to call it. But it just kind of reminded me of the iPad Goat video, because we've got the apple on which the volcano is depicted splitting, and then it has the lotus flower blooming, and then we go on to looking at Obama's forehead with the sweat bead there, and I think that's all connected, possibly connected to this event that is happening at the moment. It may escalate, it may calm down, I'm not exactly sure. It's volcano, so I'm not exactly sure, with all the work they've done over the years, how well they know volcanoes and what sets them off and stuff like that. Obviously, millions and billions of dollars have been poured into research into these things, so they've obviously got more knowledge, more in-depth knowledge on this particular subject than I do. But just as a lay observer looking from the outside, with all the reports that are coming out, it looks like there's potential for an eruption there. And that has only increased over the last couple of days since I last talked about the volcano. So that's basically it, you guys. I just wanted to bring those couple of reports to you. The escalations in the Middle East, Benjamin Netanyahu with that presentation about Iran's nuclear plans, Donald Trump responding to that. Iran saying that they're going to respond to the Israeli attacks that have killed, if we count the 7 before and the 26 now, you know, we're looking at 40 or so, probably more than 40. And then obviously you've got Israel talking to Taiwan, which, you know, may anger China, so they may be more inclined to involve themselves in any potential war that could come in the future. Again, May 14th, Israel Independence Day, a possible date for an Iranian attack on Israel or a preemptive attack from Israel on Iran. It could come before that. And watch the volcano. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and God bless.